Another thing is that is your Java application that we have already learned in the previous sessions. So all the app code that you want to perform some operation that you can write over here. Now both are different to each other, as we know, because database will understand the SQL. Okay, so here you will write the SQL. SQL means a structure query language, and here you will write the Java syntaxes, Java syntax, the program. And as I said, there are so many vendors are available. For example, the database you are using MySQL, the database you are using, you can use Oracle, the database you can use Sybase, the database you can use DB2. If you have done some query, then you know very well that there are slight changes into the queries related to the database vendor. It varies very little bit, but at the end, you have to write the SQL. Now, the thing is that we are going to do is the operation that we were performing on the database by writing the SQL over here. Now, we will write the SQL through the Java app, and we will instruct our database to perform this operation. We are not going to write the queries on database command prompt or on database any client. Okay, we will write the SQL through the Java app, and we will tell to perform the insertion operation, the deletion operation, and any updation operator. Means all the related database queries we will pass through our Java app and to the database to perform this operation. Okay, so to do this, because both are different, we have to establish one connection with the database. So you first thing what you will do is you will do this, that is the connection establishment from here to here, first thing. And when your connection will be established with the database, then you can pass your query from the application to the database. We will not write over here, we will write into the application, but we will pass to execute that query on database server. Why? Because that query can be understood and that query can be executed by your database server. No one can execute the SQL except database server. So first thing what we will do, we will establish the connection. And to establish the connection, and when we perform this operation, that is called the Jdbc. We call it as Jdbc. Jdbc means Jdbc. It means Java, J stands for Java, database, and C stands for connectivity. So we use Jdbc, Java Database Connectivity. And to perform this, we have so many classes, we have so many interface by which we can perform this operation to establish the connection. After establish, then we will pass the query. Then when the query will execute over here, that is your database, then it will populate some result, and that result will send to you in your application. So here we will send a request. Actually, this we can say that we will send a request to perform, to execute the query. After that, we will get a result. A result could be anything. I'm not talking that what will be the result. Okay. So to do this, what we are going to cover, look at it. We will see that what is the JDBC API. Look at here. I hope this is visible. What is JDBC API? Okay. After that, we will see the types of the JDBC drivers that is available to establish the connection to the different databases. After establishment of the connection, we'll see that how to execute the query from Java application to the database server by using statements and prepared statements. Java provides two interfaces, that is the statement and prepared statement, that you can use to execute your queries. Okay, and after that we'll see what is the database metadata and what is the result set metadata. So in order to develop any application, either that is your desktop application or your mobile application or your web application, if you want to store and persist the information, then you have to use the database. And if you want to persist and if you want to update and get the record through the Java application, you have to perform the JDBC operations, that is Java database connectivity. So how do we do these operations? I'll explain one by one and step by step. So I hope till now you all have understand that what is the database, what is your application, and what are the steps that we have to perform to store, manipulate the values to the database. Till now, I hope everything is clear. Okay. Now, to do this, okay, first thing you have to install the database in your system. And for this whole session, I'll use the database as MySQL. You can use any database, don't worry. It will not affect your code. I'll tell you that what you have to change in your application, in your code, to in order to establish the connection with different databases. So first thing you have to do is you have to install one database server in your system. Fine. And I'll use MySQL. So I have already installed MySQL in my system. Okay, so I'm going to open MySQL. Okay, one second. MySQL client. So here you can see that this is the MySQL client, and I have already installed it. So where you will get this client and how will you install? So just go to Google and search MySQL server, and you will get the server and you can install it. And I have installed the MySQL version 6.7. So it's my recommendation to all of you that minimum version 5.5 should be installed on your system. Okay. Because there are few things, if you have installed the version that is lesser than the 5.5, then few things will not execute. So that's why it is my recommendation to all of you, install the version of MySQL that is 5.5 and above. So I have installed the 6.07, and you can get the MySQL from the MySQL website, and it's open source, it's a free of cost, so it will not charge you any extra amount, and you will install it. When you will perform the installation, this point is important. When you will install this server on your system, okay, so it will ask something to you. It will ask something to you. So what you will select and what you will not select. So I'm just writing that. If you have notebook, just note down this. When you will install, because I'm not going to install one more time, it will If one time it will get error, then it will take too much time to install. First thing, when you will install, there will be so many options. Okay, so you will choose which type of the installation you want to perform. So installation, when you will perform installation of complete, one option you will see that will ask that developer or anything. So you will install the complete server on your system. So you will choose the complete option first thing. Okay, then it will ask some more thing. Just click on next, next, and next. One more window will appear, and it will ask what will be the password. Means when you are installing it, so since it is a server, so it will create by default a user. Okay, so by default a user is available. By default user that is installed in your system is called root. That is root. So it will ask that what is the password you want to set for the root. Okay, so password will ask to you. So you can set any password as you can remember. But my recommendation will be set the password as password. You can change later on. Okay, because I'll use the same example. That's why. So you can set any password. You can write your name. You can do anything you can write. So I will tell. I'm saying that use the password as a password. And one more option will be available, and it will have a drop down. Okay, so drop down will be like port number. So for MySQL, there are 4 port: 3306, 3307, 3308, and 3309. When you will install, so it will ask that on which port number you want to communicate. So this will be the TCP/IP for the establishment, connection establishment, because it is a server, and to communicate with the server, we need some port number. So there are 4 port number that is for MySQL. One is 3306, 3307, 3308, sorry, 3308, and 3309. Okay. So by default, the first one will be selected. That is 3306. So you will just leave it as a default, that is 3306. So after that, click on the next, and last window will ask execute. So click on the execute button, it will execute and it will install server on your system. So this is the whole process to install MySQL on your system. So I hope this step is clear to install MySQL. Okay. So after after installation, since you have installed the MySQL fresh on your system, so definitely you don't have a database in your server. So it will look like this. And when you will install it, you will get a MySQL client on your system, this one. There you can write any query. Selection, insertion, updation, you can create the table, you can drop the table, you can create the database. So I will tell you a few commands here, okay, that how to create a database that we will use in our application. Why we need to create a database in our system. So in order to store any record, First of all, you have to create a database in which you will create a table and in which you will store the database, value, because the record will be stored into the table and table will be available in your database. So first thing, create a database. So write create database. Okay. This is the query to create a database in MySQL server. So create database and your database name. Okay, so you can write anything. For example, I want to create a database with the name of new DB and hit the enter. If the query is fine, then you will see that one query is okay. This will tell you that query is okay. One row affected in your database. To check whether the database is created or not with the name of the DB, we will see show and databases. So it will tell you that how many databases are available on the server. So as you can see, there are so many databases since I have created earlier. So just look at that new DB is created or not. So as you can see, new DB database is created. So we have successfully created one database in our MySQL server, that is new DB. Now, since we want to create a table inside the new DB, so first, since there are so many databases are available, so if we write the query to create a table, and I am assuming that you all know that how to create a table, how to perform the insertion, how to perform the deletion. And these command that I'm telling you, because we are discussing the MySQL server, that's why I'm telling you that how to create the database and how to select and how to perform the creation of the table. I will write only the query to create the table. So I'm pretty much sure that you all know that how to write the SQLs. Okay. So since we want to create table, first of all, we have to create table to store the record. So in which database you want to create that table? So first select that database. So I want to perform all the queries on new DB. So I will write like this. Use this database for the SQLs to perform any operation. So use this database. So you can see database change. Now this database in use. Now if you write any query to create table, to delete a table, it will perform all the operation on this database. Now let's see that how many tables are available in new DB database. Okay, so to check, we'll write show tables. Okay, so now you can see that empty set. Why? Because we have just created this database. So obviously this database will not have any table in it. So it will show you that it has empty set, means it doesn't contain any table. So we'll create a table. And to create a table, we write create table and the table name. So I'm going to write the login, okay, master. This is my table name. And in table, as you know, the table's structure, table has so many columns, okay. So when we create a table, we provide the columns name here, that how many columns will be there. And every column has some value. So which type of the value you want to store in that column, you will provide here. So the column name, I want that login ID. This will be the column name, and which type of the value you want to store into the login ID. So I want to store the login ID as a string. So for a string in database, there is a data type that is called varchar. Okay, and we'll provide the size of this column. So login ID, we can say that it could be maximum of 20-25 characters. So I will write 25. So this is the first column that I'm going to create in my database. Then another one will be password. Password could be combination of digit, combination of characters, special characters. So that will be also a varchar, and password can be any length. So I will tell the system that store only the password that is the maximum of 16 characters. Then in my application, user can be of different type. So I will write what is the type of the user. So user type, and it will also store the varchar, and the type and the size I can store as 14. If my query is fine, I'm not creating any primary key and foreign key. I'm just telling you that how to create a table. So if you want that, you want to perform some constraint on it, then you can write primary key and all the things. So so this query is fine. So query is okay. 0 row affected means one. This will not reflect any row. So it will just look at here. This returns 0. Okay. So one table has been created with the name of login master in my table, in my database. The database name is newdb. So let's see that how many tables are now available. So as you can see, one table is created with the name of login master, as you can see here. Okay. And in which these are the columns. So if you want to see that how many columns are in database, then you can write DESC of your table, that is login master. So you can see here the field name is login ID, type is varchar, the field name is password, the type is varchar, user type is varchar. So you can create tables in this manner. Fine. Now, so this has been done. So first thing, what you have to do when you are going to create any web application, there are so many roles are available for every person in web application. Uh, One person will design your database, second will design your user interface, third person will write your backend code. So one application is created with the team, and every member has its role and responsibility. So first thing, before going to create a database, what we do, before going to create any web application, what we do, we design our database first, that how many tables will be in my application, and what the columns, the information you want to store in the database of the users, and how one table will be related to another, how one table will be um, uh, store the record. So this is the first thing that you will perform. First of all, you have to design the database. Now look at here, all the thing. Suppose I want to insert some record into this. Let's look at here. Insert into, I want to into login master. The query is insert into table name, values, and the value that you want to store. So here I'm going to write one user as admin. Okay. The username first, admin. Second, what will be the password? I want to write the password as admin. Okay, password, let me change. Password is super. Okay. And what is the role of the admin? So I say this is the admin of this whole application. So when you will hit the enter, you can see query is okay, one row affected, and one record is insert into this table. To see the record, we write select, select asterisk from the table name, that is login master. So look at here. It will show you all the records. If you write this query, it will show you all the records that is available in this table, that is login master. Okay, so these are the queries that you can write on your MySQL server direct. But this is not the thing that we are going to perform in JDBC actually. What we are going to perform, all these queries, like the insertion of the record, like selecting the record from the database, means performing the updation. We all perform these type of the operation from our application. So what do I mean to say? We will write our all the code here, and when we will execute this will perform the insertion, this will perform the updation, this will perform the selection, and we'll see the result through the Java application, not using the database client. Got it? Yes, one more thing. You can use this client to check whether your uh, um, query is okay or not. If your query is okay, then you can use this query into your application. Now tell me, any doubt till now? Okay, fine. So you all need to do one thing, revise the database query, SQL. It will help you to write the effective code by using the SQLs. And 1 second. Yes. Now we are ready to do the coding and to perform the operation through the database. So what are the steps involved to do the JDBC code? So I will write first the steps. Then we will perform this step in our code one by one. Okay. Come to this one. Yes. Now we are using the database as MySQL. MySQL. We are using this database. And we want to establish first the connection with this database. Okay. So we use the JDBC API. We use the JDBC API first thing. And this API is nothing but it's you can say it's a set of classes, interfaces that you will use to perform the operation. And as we know that every vendor has a different internal architecture to execute the queries. So uh, one API that we will use is not enough for all the database. So what the database vendor does, they will give you the connector that you can use, to establish the connection of your application to the database. So if you are using MySQL database, then you will use the connector of the MySQL. Okay. If you are using um, Oracle, then you will use the connector of the Oracle. If you are using Sybase, then you will use the connector of Sybase. Okay, so I have connector of the MySQL. I'm going to show you that how the connector look like. Let me open that. So this is, you can see, MySQL connector for the Java. So this is a um, this you will get in the form of the jar file, first thing. Okay, and in this you will if you open it, then you will find there are so many packages, and in packages there are so many classes and interfaces. So you need to use this in order to establish the connection, first thing. Okay, so since we are using the MySQL, then we will use the MySQL connector. If we use the Oracle, then we will use the Oracle connector. If we use DB2, then we'll use the DB2 connector. So what I am going to do, I'm going to copy it, and we can put it anywhere. It doesn't matter. So I'll copy it my folder, that is new folder. I will put here. This is my connector. So first thing that we want to establish the connection is a connector of specific to the database that you are using. Just remember this point. This connector cannot use with another database vendors. And one more thing, the connector you are going to use, this one, it must be compatible with the version that you have installed in your system. Okay, if you have installed the MySQL version and the connector that you are using is not compatible with that, then this connection will not establish. So it also varies version to version. Got it? So when you are going to download MySQL from the MySQL website, then download the MySQL connector also for the specific version, and you will get very easily. It is available, and you can use and you can download it. If you are not able to get it, then let me know. I'll provide the link, or I'll provide the setup also. It won't be any problem. Okay, I hope this is also clear, that what we have to use to connect, to establish the connection with the database, and which type of the connector we will use in order to establish the connection, and version specific as well as the vendor specific. Got it? I hope this also clear. So now I'm going to write the steps. So I'm going to write the steps that we will follow to establish the database connection. So here I'm going to delete this first. So make a note of it. What are the steps that is required to establish? First thing, load the driver. Okay, first thing, you have to load the driver of that database that you are using. Okay, second, establish the connection with database. Second one is, okay, after establishment of connection, uh, when your connection got established, then you can execute the query. Then we will write our statements, and after that we will execute the statement. Okay, fifth, get the result in our application. So these are the steps. So what we do to load the driver? So for the first step, there is a class that is java dot, there is a package that is java.sql. You need to import it. First thing, to use the JDBC, first thing, you have to import java.sql in your application. So first thing, just perform this operation. And after that, write this statement, class dot for name, this one. And now make sure that the C is capital here. So Java provides a class with the name of the class in which there is a static method in which we pass the driver name, and the driver name for the MySQL is com.mysql.jdbc. And as you can see, all are in lowercase. So these are your package. And after that, we will write driver. So as you can see, D is capital. It means this is your actual class or interface. So first thing that you have to load the driver by writing this statement. Got it? Now, after that, what you will do, establish the connection with the database. So when your driver is get loaded, there is one interface that is called connection. You will create an object of the connection by calling driver manager. So when your drivers get loaded, then driver manager will take care of the things that we want to establish this connection. Driver manager dot get connection is a method in which you will pass three things. One is called the URL of database to which you want to establish the connection. Second, you will pass the user, because every database has the user and user has the right to access it, and every user has its password that you want. So there are three things that you will pass. Now, to establish the connection with this database, this one, I want to establish the connection with new DB. So what I will write, and it is same for every case. First thing you will write JDBC colon MySQL colon / this one. Localhost colon 3306. Okay, since the localhost, why we are writing localhost? Because the database is available in my system. So the host of the database is the local host, or you can write the IP of the local host also. Means you can write the IP of localhost 127.0.0.1. So you can write the domain name, or you can write the IP. So JDBC colon MySQL colon / localhost colon 3306. After that, provide your database name, that is new DB. Look at here. What is the database? That is new DB. So this will establish the connection with this database. What is the username? So as I already told you that the username is root. The username is root. And what is the password of this? So at the time of installation, I have given the password as password. Okay. So if this goes fine, it will establish a connection with the database, and this con object will have one connection with the database. Fine. So since this gets lengthy, so I'll do one thing. Sorry. Here I can write into 2 lines. This one is equal initially null, and here I can write the con also. The same thing. So now just tell me, if the connection will establish, then con will have the object of the connection. There will be no null. And if still con is null, it means the connection is not established. Isn't it? If con is still null, it means the connection is not established. And if con is not null, it means it has an object of the connection with the database. So to check, yes, it can be change Ming, but as I said, for name, since we are using the MySQL, okay, so for the MySQL database, this will be remain same, that is com.mysql.jdbc.driver. This will be remain same for MySQL database. If you are using Oracle, then you will write according to the database driver name. Even, okay, even within the get connection, this URL will also get changed according to your database, and your username according to the database, and the password according to the password. So since we are using a database of the MySQL, so this will be jdbc mysql /localhost 3306 and the database name. Okay, but this will be remain same, that is class.forName. This will be remain same, that is driver manager.get connection. The thing will change this one. And one question may be come into your mind, that where we will get these things, that what we have to write in it. Okay, so don't worry, when you want to connect with the database with any vendor, they also provide the documentation that use this syntax to establish the connection with the database. Okay, so definitely you will get the documentation also. So now, how will we check that the connection is established or not? So simple, we can write like this: if con is not equal to null, it means connection is. So this syntax I'm writing only to check that the connection is established or not. If you want to use in your code, you can use it. So I'm just writing to check that the connection is established or not. So connection, okay, I'm writing. And if con is still null, it means it will execute the else part, that is connection failed. First thing, here I will write connection failed. So till now, all the syntaxes are clear, all the statements are clear. Okay, that what you have to write to establish the connection with the database. Now we need to compile it. Okay, and there are so many things that will come one by one, so keep watching very carefully. Now come to compilation. So open the command prompt. I'm opening the command prompt. JDBC I'll cover here. After that we will move to IDE. Few things I'll cover here, and after that we'll move to the IDE. It will save our time. IDE will save our time, and we have learned so many things in on the command prompt. So I hope it will not create any problem to all of you. So Java C class.java, this one. Now look at the error. So I hope one extra curly bracket. That's why. Compile it. Okay. And yesterday we have learned this. Just look at it. What it says, unreported exception. And what type of exception? That is class not found exception. Where? In this statement. So this exception is the type of the checked type, is the checked type exception. So this exception must be caught or declared to be thrown. So what we do in terms of the checked type of the exception? So for checked type of exception, we write the code into the try catch, we provide the handler, or we use the throws clause. Have you remember in the yesterday session? Okay. So it means we have to write this statement into the try catch. First thing, try and catch. Or what we can do, we can write throws in front of this method. So this is not the preferable coding standard, so I will not follow it. I will use the try catch, and you will also use the same thing. Okay, so don't use throws unless you are not in hurry. So which type of the exception it will throw? So it will throw the exception type, that is class not found. So I'll copy it and paste here, class not found exception, and I will write this. So accordingly, I'll show you the message that class is not found to the user, or anything else that the connection or driver is not loaded. So this is up to you, that which type of the statement you want to show. So I will write here driver not found. Fine. Now again I'll compile. Look at here. So one has been resolved, this one. Now another is also throwing an exception, that is the check type of exception, and this exception type is the SQL exception, must be caught or declared to be thrown, this one. So it means we have to write this statement also in try catch. So since we want to write both statement into the try catch, so what I will do, I'll copy it and I will write into try block. Okay, and since there are more than one exception can be thrown, so I'm not going to specify one by one. Okay, so I'll specify that is only exception. And since exception is the parent of all type of the exception, so it can handle the object of the child type also. As we know, parent P is equal to new child, the dynamic programming approach, the upcasting we have learned. So exception can hold all the object that is the object type of the child. So exception E. So message, definitely we have to change the message. So I'm going to print only E. So it will have all the information that which type of the exception occurred. Now compile it. Now compile. Now you can see that compilation is done successfully. Now execute it. So Java, and then write your class name. Look at here. What is the output? Look at here. It says that java.lang.class not found exception com.mysql.jdbc.driver is not found. That you are writing into it, this one is not available. And why we are not getting this? So if this statement will raise an exception, then definitely the connection will not establish, and still connection has the con. That's why we are getting the answer connection failed. Fine. So where we will get this driver? So this driver is available actually in connector here. This one. This is available into this jar file. And since the system doesn't know that where that connector is available, so you have to tell that this connector is available into this jar file. To do this, we write some statement over here. So we write set class path, okay, is equal the class path of this connector. So write this class path. So just look at here. I'm clicking on it. It will show you the path. Copy it and paste over here. Fine. And since the class is inside the jar file, so you need to provide the jar file name also. You need to provide this jar file name also. So I will copy the name of this file here, copy it, and after this, write, and extension is dot jar. You need to write semicolon and dot semicolon, enter. So you have to set and you have to tell that this driver is available actually at this location. Fine. Now run this code. If everything is fine, then connection will establish. So it means my application is now connected with the database because connection has been established. Now your code has been completed, so connection will destroy automatically. So every time whenever your code is execute, it will establish the connection. Now tell me, till now, is there any confusion? That how to establish the connection with the database? Okay, fine. So after that, since we have established our connection with the database, now we are set to execute our query. Okay. To come to this code and execute our query. And since the connection is established with over the con, so we will execute our query on this connection, con. So first thing, you have to create an object of the statement stmt is equal con dot by this connection, call a method that is create statement. Okay, since the connection is established over this object, so we will call the statement and we will pass the statement to execute on the database on this connection. Okay, look at here, this one. So now this has been established. So it means we have to pass our query through this link, and this link name is con. Okay, so we will write our query here. So what I'm going to write? I'm going to write insertion query that inserts some record into it. So here we will write insert query, insert into. What is the database name? So I have already execute that query over here. So I'll copy from this, where, here is. So I'll copy this query from here and I'm going to paste in my code. This one. Look at here, insert into login master, values, admin, super admin, and after that, I will close it and put the semicolon. Okay. So it will store. So admin is also available. So here I will write the username as, for example, Indonesia. The password is India and the user type is simple, is student, this one. Now this statement has been created. To execute this statement, since the statement has been now created, now we need to execute it. We will execute the statement. Third point has been completed. Now we have to execute this. From here, I'll give you one very important tip. And if you remember this is the tip. Note. What is that? If you want to execute any query, so to execute the query, can you tell me that if we divide the query on the basis of insertion, updation, deletion, and selection, which query will perform the updation into the database and which query will not perform the updation into the database? Yes. If we have the queries of insert, update, delete, truncate, okay, and another type of the query, that is the selection, that we can select the values also from the database, which one will affect the database and which one will not affect the database, which query? So if we perform the selection query, can it make the changes into your table or can it make the changes into your database? Tell me. No. Okay. Simple. It will get the result from the database. Now, if we perform the insert, then will it change the database? Yes. If we perform the operation of the deletion, so it will also update the database. If we perform the updation query, then it will also perform the updation. So we can say to execute the query, we can divide the query in two types. Can we divide it? One is the selection type and second one is your updation type. Can we divide the query in two parts? Okay. So to execute the query, we can divide the query in two parts. One can be selection type. Selection type means the selection query, and second can be your other than selection. I'm writing other than selection. Now, till now this is clear that we can divide the query. One can be of the selection type and second one can be other than selection type. So when you create the statement and you write the query in your code, look at here. So just tell me, this query is selection type or other than selection type? Insert into login master. So definitely it is the other type, not the selection type. So to execute the other than selection type, of the query, use execute update method. Which method we will use? Execute update. Okay, we will use the execute update method to execute this. So now come to this, we will use it. So this is the statement and we want to execute this. So we will write stmt dot execute update, this one. Got it? That which method will use by you when you are writing your query? I hope this is clear right now. Other than selection, then we will use execute update. Simple. and the return type of the execute update. Okay, it returns integer value as the number of rows affected by the query. So it will return an integer value, and what will be the value? So as the number of rows affected by the query. So how many rows will be affected with this insert? So if it affects 2 rows, so it will return 2. If it affects 1 row, it will return 1. If it affects no row, it will return 0. Are you getting my point? Yes. I hope this is clear. And if you want to see this, that why I'm telling you this, look at this. Can you see insert into this? So this will insert 1 row into the table. That's why you can see 1 row affected. So this value will be returned by your execute update. This value. So if it affects the number of rows 1, 2, 3, and any, and if it returns 0, so it means no insertion has been performed, isn't it? If it returns 0, so it means there is no operation of the insertion has been performed on the database. So what we will do, we'll store the return result is equal. Okay. And now check if result is greater than 0. If result is greater than 0, it means the insertion has been done. So as we know, and the message can be anything. So I'll message that registration done. And if it is not the greater than 0, it means it is equal to 0 or less than 0, means else registration failed. And sometimes when you register yourself with any application, you see the same output and the same message. So come to execution. Now this one, okay. Method is con dot create a statement. Okay. This statement I have mentioned at the wrong position. Create a statement and execute update here. Let me check. Okay, fine. Okay, so the query will be right into the execute update. Don't write into the create a statement. Okay. So thing will be remain same. The query will be passed into the execute update. Okay. So now compile it, and after compilation, execute it. So look at here. So the answer is registration done, and after that connection. Okay. So connection okay. Why connection okay? Because at the end we have checked that the connection established or not. So look at the database that this value is inserted into database or not. So what is the value we are passing? Hinduja, India, and student. So to check, I'll use the database server. So I'll write the selection query. Look at the database. One record we have already inserted through this client, and one record is inserted through your Java application. Fine. So this is the way that you can perform the JDBC operation. Where is the code? This one. We can pass the statement also, but not into the statement. That will be prepared statement. So this is the way that you can execute your query. Now tell me, any doubt? Only one thing, query will be right into the execute update. Yes, tell me. Now, are you able to establish the connection? You can insert and you can perform these operations. Or any query. No. Okay, fine. So perform these things by yourself. And tomorrow I will tell you the selection process, updation, deletion, and few more things related to the JDBC. Okay. Okay. So I will try to upload this video today itself, because you can take the reference of it. You can take the reference of it. Okay. So I will try to upload this video very soon, and I'll share the link also. You can take the reference and you can establish. So you all are comfortable with MySQL. You can use the MySQL database. Okay, fine. Then it will fine, because I'm using the MySQL from this for the application also. Otherwise, only the things that you need to change, I'll tell you with the context of the Oracle also. But the theme will remain same. Means class dot for name, driver manager dot get connection, statement con dot create a statement, execute update, all will remain same. The thing will change, the driver and the URL, user and the password. That's all the thing will remain same. So okay, fine. I'll upload this video and you can watch and you can write the code. If you get any error, then you can text me. You have my number. If I'll get the time, definitely I'll reply you. If I not get time, then tomorrow in the session I'll tell you that what is the solution. But I will try to tell you at the same time when you are writing the code. And in India, it is now night 10 o'clock right now. So try to and there. What is the timing there? What timing is? Um, what time is happening there in the in US? It is morning. Okay, so you can do the practice. I'm going to take a rest. So thank you for joining this session. If you have any query, any problem, then you can text me anytime. When I'll get the time, I will definitely reply you. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.